Hey guys, this is AwesomeJohn22 coming today with another review, and I wanted to do something retro today, but I couldn't find my retro Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff out in my garage. However, while I was out there checking, I did come across this figure. Well, these figures, technically. These are the Mystic Force Titans, or the Mystic Force Zords from Power Rangers Mystic Force. I remember saying during my review of the Mystic Force Dragon component to the legendary Megazord how much I liked these guys. So I figured I'd go ahead and talk about them. So here we have them in their individual Titan forms. We can see each one of them somewhat humanoid, though all different shapes and sizes, which I found very interesting when watching this series. This is one of the series that I did watch. It was a very unique series in a lot of different ways, and I really enjoyed that. Not only were these not called Zords once in the entire series as far as I can recall, and always referred to as the Mystic Titans, it's one of the few Megazords since the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that had more than just the separate Zord modes and the Megazord mode. Not only that, but the series was quite unique in its presentation, and one of the first in a very long time to tie directly back to the original run of Power Rangers from Mighty Morphin all the way through Power Rangers in Space. Looking at these guys, we can see every single one of them tries to have some kind of articulation. Even the smallest here, the Pink Titan, which I believe was a pixie or a fairy of some kind in the show, has moving arms. The Red Zord, let's talk about the Red Zord next. By far the best of the group, with almost a full range of motion in the arms, including motion like so, involving the transformation joint, and a full range of motion in the legs. The only thing we don't get are rotations and knee bends. Absolutely great, especially for a Power Rangers toy. Next. Doesn't have any proper hands, but he does have really great range of motion in the arms, as well as in and out motion and rotation in the legs, all due to transformation. The Green Zord, the largest, has, I guess, slightly leg articulation, though it's mostly really backwards, considering that this guy is basically the body of the Megazord turned around. But we still get a decent range of motions, at least something usable, especially in the arms, which have all kinds of different motion. And he does have a weapon, so it's nice that he has that motion, so he can, be displayed with it however you like. The Zord that gets the short end of the stick, however, is the Blue Zord, probably actually my favorite one in terms of design. She has leg rotation, technically, but there's just not a lot of clearance. And in terms of arm articulation, all she gets is this in and out movement, which is weird because she's got this big backpack, makes her very back heavy. You would imagine they would try to work in some kind of forward arm rotation, so you can balance that all out. All she really has is her weapon, her trident, which isn't really heavy enough, and so you have to be really careful when standing her. In fact, she has this kind of forward lean that I guarantee they only gave the toy specifically to counter the extra weight on the back. Overall, they look good together. They're very interesting. They all have a very similar aesthetic, and yet all of them are very different from one another. And I always really like that. They also have this same uniform M-shaped symbol across each of them, but then on their armor down further, you can see they each have an individual symbol related to their animal. The red being the phoenix, the pink being the pixie, the yellow being a Garuda, blue being a mermaid, and green being a minotaur. Very cool. All mystical animals, of course, because it was Mystic Force, which I really liked. I'm really into mythology. Just very good looking Zords that they did a very good job presenting their theme. I really like them a lot. However, my favorite thing about these guys is their second of three modes, which I will show you now. First, let's take the Red Zord out of the way, and let's focus on the Green Zord first. Remove his weapon. We're just going to kind of lower his arms down like so. Bring his horns together to make this point. Next, we're going to take his legs, and this is the most interesting part. We're going to straighten these out, and then bring them down like so. On both sides, of course. And now he kind of stands like this. It's hard to get him in frame. He's actually quite large. Stands like this, makes kind of a, bestial body. And like this, he looks almost like a troll or something, which I think is kind of nifty. But, not the point. Next, we're going to take the blue Zord, the mermaid. We're going to remove the trident from her hand. And we are going to remove this piece from her back. And we're going to press her arms in and split her body. Flip her head up like so. Rotate her legs like so. Turn her over. And we're going to take here, kind of open her feet a little bit. And take these two pegs and connect her to the green Zord like so. Next, we're going to take this bit, straighten it out, and we're going to peg it in there. And we're going to take these two standard Power Ranger clips, and we're going to use them to clip this between her feet and make this really long tail. Oh, knocked over pink there. Next up, we're going to take the yellow Garuda, and we're going to extend this body segment and rotate the head down. We're just going to kind of leave it like this for a second. You can attach it to the green Zord in its configuration here, but I find it easier to attach pink with him still separated. So what we're going to take pink here. We're going to raise these wings up like so. And then we're just going to rotate her body up like that, accordion it up like that, and then just kind of bring her arms down. They don't really rest in a good place, but I kind of find that fits the best. Next, we're going to take this and holding his head in, because it can pop out easily, we're going to take, you can see this hole here, this post here. We're just going to kind of plug her on like that. And now we've got this cool nifty dragon head thing going on. Completing Yellow's transformation, we are going to straighten out his wings like so. Rotate his legs and bring them up. You can see there's this little slot here. We'll peg right there. It's loose, but it sits pretty well. Next, we're going to take him, and we have this rotation joint here. It actually slots in between these protrusions here, and then the head just kind of lowers down. We can see these little tabs. It will peg in between those tabs, and then we'll rest on the Minotaur's horns. And finally, we take the wings and we rotate them out like so. And now we have the Mystic Force Dragon, the original Mystic Force Dragon, and it's absolutely huge. As you can see, it's taking up the entirety of the camera's range, and great detail on it. Everything. It's got a lot of different colors here, but the similar aesthetic going from one Zord to the next kind of pulls it all together. Just absolutely fantastic toy. I love it a lot. But you may have noticed that Red doesn't seem to take any part in this. And, well, that's because Red is separate from the Zord in this mode. He actually mounts the Zord and rides it around. So what we're going to do is we're going to take his sword and we're going to peg it into the trident and give it to him as a spear weapon, because riding on a giant animal, of course, he's going to need a longer weapon. Next, we're going to take this flap and raise it up, and then we're going to bring his legs up, spread them slightly, fold them like so. We're going to take the dragon. You can see there are these standard Power Ranger clips on his legs, and they will clip in to these ports on the back of the dragon. And unfortunately, when the dragon is standing up normally, he's at kind of this back laid position. So what I like to do is just kind of lean the dragon forward a little bit, so everything's oriented a little bit better. And it's not perfect, but it looks pretty good. And it's alleviated by the fact that any normal kid playing with this toy, any normal person in general, is going to be flying the thing around. So, flying it around, you can orient it however you want. and I absolutely love it. It's very unique. It was a very interesting, a very intriguing answer to giving the Power Rangers a flying vehicle earlier on in the series, because this is actually the first combination they got between the Mystic Titans. However, in this mode they were limited to just the magic that the Red Ranger himself could use and the Dragon's Fire Breath. And that didn't always pack quite the punch they needed, so they did have the Megazord mode as well. So I'll go ahead and show that off. This is the Titan Megazord. We're going to remove red and remove pink. And we're going to come back here, pop off blue, and then we're going to take the green Zord. We're just going to kind of go like this, and then kind of set it here. We need to transform blue next. Separate this piece, take these two halves, fold up the feet like so. Now we have these two kind of boot looking things, and that's actually what they are, because if we take the green Zord, we can see that these actually plug into, if we get them lined up properly, the fronts of his legs, and make these big witch's boot looking things, because that's actually the aesthetic this guy has, is like a witch or a wizard, which is pretty cool if I do say so myself. Bringing this up, we can see we actually split his body, and then take his Minotaur arms, rotate them around to reveal fists, and peg them in like so. We will of course do the same thing on both sides. And that leaves this big gaping gap in his chest. Next we're going to take this body segment here, lower it back down, fold up the wings like so. We're going to take the red Zord and remove this weapon first, obviously. And they're pretty tight. Straighten out his legs again. And we're going to take the pink Zord like so. Just kind of rotate these back. And take this panel on red Zord's back. Use it to hide the head. And then we're going to peg in the pink Zord like so. And then fold the two arms forward, pegging them together. Bring up the two legs. And this will peg right into the Megazord's chest. And then we just raise this up to give him this witch's hat aesthetic thing. And there we have the Titan Megazord in Megazord mode. And I just absolutely love this thing. I think it looks amazing. It's a very interesting aesthetic for a Megazord, yet in a lot of ways I feel like it harkens back to older style Megazords, because you've got this very compact, very, I don't know what the word is, very cohesive design that doesn't have swapping parts. It doesn't have big gimmicky bits and pieces. It feels like whoever designed the Zords this season were really trying to bring Power Rangers back to its roots, or Sentai back to its roots, I should say. Because of course this was Sentai first. And I just really adore it, and I can't really explain why, but I just really do. And in some ways it actually reminds me a lot of the old Mighty Morphin Dino Megazord, which is probably why I like it so much. You have the big shiny detail across the chest, the patterns on the shoulders. You even have the head is kind of these two horns that, move into position. It feels a lot like that initial Zord. To me, pulling this guy out of the box the first time, it felt very nostalgic, because it was, I got a lot of deja vu from it. And maybe that contributes to why I like it so much. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that it has a giant dragon mode. I don't know. But for whatever reason, I really like this Zord a lot. Now, for his weapon, what we're going to do is we're going to take these two pieces, which are already 4 weapons combined into 2 pieces. We're going to combine them again, inserting the spear weapon from the dragon mode, like so, giving it this big cohesive sword mode, and now he just holds it in his hand, and that looks great. I love that. It's fantastic. It, well, I mean, it's 4 completely different pieces. One of which isn't even a weapon, it's technically just a backpack piece. And yet they combine together to look like this big kick-ass fantasy sword, and it's absolutely great. In short, I recommend this figure. If you can find this figure, go for it. I think it's great. It's one of my favorites. In terms of articulation, it even has leg articulation. That's just completely unprecedented when it comes to Sentai figures. Like I said, this is a very well-designed toy, and I still recommend it now. It still holds up. I recommend it more so than I do the series, and I also recommend the series, even to adult viewers. I think it's just a good show. It's juvenile, of course, because it's a kids' show, but it's not bad. It's really not bad at all. So yeah, Mystic Force. Go for it. I like it a lot. I like this better than the second Megazord they got, the Manticore Megazord. It had a great idea to it, but the toy itself was just pretty poor in execution. But this guy, absolutely great. And yeah, if I keep going any longer, I'm just going to be gushing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the review, because I certainly enjoyed making it for you. Please help me out, like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined. In the description down below, you'll find links to all the other things I'm working on, including a link to my collection, which is posted on my blog. Check that out, and if you see anything in it that you'd like me to review, let me know, and I will see what I can do. This has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later.